Welcome to the Hockey Writers Flames Faceoff, a weekly show with our top Calgary Flames writing crew, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From training camp to the playoffs, from draft day to the trade deadline, our team covers everything that happens with the Flaming Sea. So get set, get focused. It's time for the Flames Faceoff. Flames Faceoff.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Quinney, and this is the Flames Faceoff, brought to you by the Hockey Writers. Now, this is a weekly show where we get together some of our best writers in the Calgary Flames writing pool, and we discuss all things Flames. Now, to make sure you don't miss an episode, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We'd be grateful for a like on YouTube and Facebook, and make sure you share this episode with your fellow Flames fans. And be sure to check out some of the great content we have here at thehockeywriters.com. So with that, let's get going. I'd like to introduce the panel. We have with us Mr. Colton Pankiw. Colton, how are things this week?
I'm good, Paul. I'm just excited to have all four of us back on here again. And just excited to get going.
Yeah, you've been enjoying some of the exhibition games?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't get to watch last night, as we were talking before. The stream is down there. But it's been pretty good so far.
Oh, well. And we have none other than Brett Krauss. Brett, welcome. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well, Paul. Been able to catch a couple of the exhibition games, which have been good so far. So can't wait for October 16th to get going.
Yeah. What's that hat you're wearing today? You got
we got the Flames today. Yeah.
All right.
Got to represent for the show, No more of these other sports teams.
Yeah. Well, you had that soccer cap on in the summer. True. That was the summer.
Sometimes get a little excited for the big soccer tournaments.
Yeah.
Other than that, mostly stick to baseball and hockey.
Okay. And fresh in from the golf course, Mr. Greg Tysowski. Greg, how goes things?
Pretty good, actually. I did try golfing again yesterday with my catastrophic injury, and it wasn't so bad. I didn't play good games. I haven't played in a month, but it was nice to get outside because fall is currently it's really nice, and there's only a few more days of great weather we're going to get. So I risked further injury and hit the links, but now I'm ready to talk some hockey.
All right. A warrior through and through, Mr. Tysowski. Well, with that, then let's get right down to it. In less than 2 weeks, as you pointed out, Brett, we're into the regular season. The Flames start October 16th at Rogers Place against the arch enemy Edmonton Oilers. And once again, it's time for us to go out on a limb and make some big, bold predictions about what's going to happen this year. And this panel has actually been quite busy in the last few weeks making exactly those big, bold predictions. So I wanted to take some time today and look at some of the prognostications that we've made and see whether or not we're going to regret them at some point in this season. But I'd like to do a quick round the table with the first question. Will the Flames make the playoffs in 2021-22? I'd like to quickly go around. I'm going to start, and I'm going to make the prediction that they actually won't make the playoffs. My reasoning is they've been at best an average team for the last 5 years. They hover around about 550, and that's really on the bubble, not quite good enough to get you much past the minimum 95 points, which is accepted as the number of points you need to make the playoffs. Now, I know they exceeded that in 2018 and 19, but that was 1 year out of the last 5 where they did that. And I don't see anything that's really changed this year that really makes them a better hockey club. I'm calling an early start to their golf season this year. Colton, what do you think? Are you going to push back on that, or are you going the other way and predicting they're going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think I agree with some of the things you're saying. I do think they're an average team right now, but I do think they'll make it. I look at the division they're in. It's not very strong. I know some people are. There's a lot of different opinions on the Kraken. I don't expect them to be very good. So I think the Flames will make it. I think you have a few guys like Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk playing for new contracts, which I think could help them have really big years. So I don't necessarily think they'll be a team that goes on a big playoff run, but I do think they'll sneak in.
Brett, where are you on the playoff situation this year?
Yeah, I think they make it. I don't know if they make a run, but I think just looking at the division overall, Anaheim, LA, San Jose aren't that good. LA might be the best of the three this year, but kind of those teams. And yes, I'm not sold on Seattle yet, but of course, just like Vegas, they made everybody eat crow. So, and I don't think Vancouver will be that good either. So I think the Flames have a real shot for that second or third spot in the division. And so I'm going to say yes. I think they do make it. I think they might get some big seasons from some guys. So yeah, I'll say they make the playoffs this year.
All right. Well, soon we're going to get to who's going to have a big season because we've made some predictions on that as well. But before we do, I want to get Greg's take on it. Greg, playoffs this year or not for the Flames?
Well, I don't want to pile on you, buddy, and make it 3-1, but I do agree with a lot of your points. They are a very average team, but as the guys were saying, I think they're in a very below average division, and I think that makes all the difference. They're probably not a playoff team in any of the stronger divisions, but I just think they'll squeak in and more same old, and they've had 1 year on, 1 year off for playoffs for the last like 5 or 6 seasons. So I say it's on this year, and maybe they'll go on a run, maybe they won't. But I'm going to say yes, they're going to squeak in because I think they have enough talent barely to kind of make it in a weak division. So, okay,
so you guys have piled on me. Are you going to back that up with a promise to buy me beers if I win this thing? If my prediction is right?
I think we can do that.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to hold you to it. It's recorded. We've all seen it. We've all seen the commitment. So, all right, then, we alluded, I forget who it was, to individual players having big years. So who are the Flames that are going to have big seasons this year? Greg, you recently published a piece. It was entitled Calgary Flames, 3 Bold Predictions for 2021-22, in which you made some predictions about the kind of seasons 3 players are going to have. What were those predictions? Can you recap them briefly for us and take on what happens if you're wrong? What happens with the Flame season if that doesn't pan out?
Well, probably the boldest prediction I made was that Matthew Tkachuk was going to have a bounce back season and he's going to be named the next captain, which they may not even have a captain this season. There's been a lot of debate around that, but I think that Matthew Tkachuk is going to have a big year, and he's going to kind of prove the naysayers wrong that kind of piled on him last year for having a down year. And so, yeah, I think they're going to build around him. I think you have to choose someone to kind of be your cornerstone of your franchise. And I think Matthew Tkachuk is that guy. So that's bold prediction number 1. Number 2 was that Markstrom was going to become a top 5 elite goaltender this year. And he's never been in the top 5, I don't think, for his stats or his save percentage and whatnot. But I think the Flames are going to need him to be, that kind of goalie that steals games, and kind of like the great Mika Kiprusoff did for years for the Flames, is kind of have that superb goalie. And my bold prediction is he's going to be that superb netminder this year. And the final prediction wasn't so bold, but it was someone has to take on the minutes and the mantle of the Flames' number 1 defenseman. And now that Giordano was gone, I was predicting that Noah Hanifin would be the best candidate to kind of take on all those minutes, play more PP time, PK time, and do those like 24 minutes a night kind of big responsibility in the back end. So those are my big 3. And if none of these come true, well, I think we're all buying you beers. That's the bottom line. So.
Okay. Just with Tkachuk though, Greg, what if he's not signed to a deal of a reasonable length? Can they make him captain?
No, I think it's like if they were to sign him this year, like the extension, it would be, my guess is there'd be like a big press conference where they say, oh, we're signing him to X amount for X years, and we're also giving him the C as well. I think that's kind of how it would work. I don't think he gets the captaincy if we go throughout the season with no signing. So I think they go hand in hand. So
okay. So Brett, are you buying any of Greg's bold predictions here?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're bold, but I think they're all definitely plausible. I think, except maybe Tkachuk getting the captaincy, that's they haven't really said anything about the captain or if anybody will be a captain. So no, I think they're all kind of right in line with what should happen and hopefully does. So, yeah. And like I said, if they don't happen, then we will be buying you beers.
All right. You've heard it here. That's Colton. What are your thoughts on those predictions? Are they plausible?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, the Tkachuk one really goes hand in hand with an extension. And then as far as the Markstrom one goes, I know we are going to talk about two in the predictions I had made about a possible Vezina Trophy season for Markstrom. And I know that's a bit of a stretch, but when they signed him, they brought him in, as Greg alluded to be an elite goaltender. And I think especially that last season with Vancouver, he really did prove that he could be that. I know there was a lot of talk surrounding the fact that he could have been, he wasn't named one, but a lot of people thought he could be named a Vezina finalist. So I think the Flames season really depends on him a lot. I think if he plays like last year, then they're probably not in, but I think he's capable of bouncing back. I think he's been saying all the right things. He wasn't happy with last season, and I do think he'll bounce back this year and have a really big year for them.
Any reservations about Hanifin? I mean, certain pundits have said, well, look, he was good last year because he was playing with Tanev. And if Tanev doesn't have a great season, there's questions as to Hanifin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Tanev, as it's been talked about a lot, had maybe it's his best season of his career last year. He was incredible. So if he's able to do that again, great. If not, I think it's an interesting year for Hanifin because, like you said, he had, I think, his best year as a pro last year. So is he able to continue that or even take a step forward? I think that's one of the biggest storylines of this season, especially with the departure of Giordano. So I think he's definitely capable. He does a lot of things right. It's just kind of a matter of putting everything together. So I think that's definitely one of the most interesting storylines to follow with this team this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, now that you're in the hot seat here, Colton, I want to touch on a piece that you wrote. It was entitled 3 Flames Who Could Win Awards in 2021-22. So who are those Flames that could be award winners? What are they going to win in your view, or what could they win?
Yeah. So that first one that we were just discussing there was Markstrom with the Vezina, and then Johnny Gaudreau with the Lady Byng. I can't even remember now off by heart the season. He's won it before, I think 2016, 17 maybe. Yeah. And then the other one was quite a stretch, but I think a player that doesn't get a lot of recognition outside of Calgary, and that was Andrew Mangiapane for the Selke Trophy. I think he really doesn't get talked about a lot just around
that's the defensive forward of the year.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And generally with those awards too, it's kind of like the Norris, right? They like to give it to guys that put up a lot of points as well. And I think he's proven that he really can score goals, put up points. I think he's taken big steps forward each year. I think he will again this year. And his defensive play is something that doesn't really get talked about at all. So I think at the very least, he can definitely get some votes in that category this year. Whether or not he wins it, like I said, it's a stretch for sure, but I'm expecting a really big season from him.
Mm-hmm. Brett, do you see those 3 as plausible?
Yeah, I think Markstrom for the Vezina probably is like the biggest stretch in my opinion. I think Johnny Gaudreau could easily be a top 5 for the Lady Byng. And I'm also on the Mangiapane for Selke train because I think he's really going to surprise some people this year. And I think he kind of made a name for himself at the World Championships when a lot of Canada was watching, and so I think this is going to be a big year for him, in my opinion.
Greg, any pushback on any of those possibilities?
No, actually, I think, like when I made my bold prediction about Markstrom, I was, kind of hoping against hope that if he does have a big year, he would be in the Vezina conversation. So like, I think when I said he'd become a top 5 elite goaltender, I think if you are that, then you put yourself in the Vezina conversation. And Gaudreau, as a past winner, that's easily, that could happen again. And as for Mangiapane, I wrote an article about his play at the World Championships, and I got nothing but good stuff to say about Mangiapane. I think he's primed and ready for this season, and I say the rest of the hockey world might find out who this guy is.
Yeah. So I don't want to be dismissive of the Lady Bing, but gentlemanly play. Am I being too harsh on the Lady Bing? What are your thoughts? Anybody? Colton, should I be happy that the Flames have got a Lady Bing contender?
Yeah, I know it's kind of an award. I don't know how excited the players maybe get for winning it per se, but
Yeah.
I wrote in that article too, like a lot of people do dog it, but if you look at some of the past winners of that thing, like there's all sorts of like Hall of Fame talent or even current guys in the league that are some of like the game's best. So it is, like you said, gentleman play, but it's also given to only like really elite players in the game. So I think if you win it, I think you're in that conversation as one of the game's top forwards. So I think there's some good with winning it.
Okay, a feather in the cap. So Brett, you wrote a piece, 3 Flames, her breakout candidates in 2021-22. Can you recap what you're predicting? Who's going to have those breakout years, and is it a certainty, or do you have any doubts at all?
Well, I usually have doubts when it comes to the Flames, but I talked about Noah Hanifin, Mangiapane, and Dillon Dube as my 3 breakout candidates. And kind of like what we've gone over already is that, Giordano's gone now. And so this is kind of Hanifin's moment to really step up and kind of show that why he was taken, 5th overall by Carolina, and why Calgary traded for him, giving up Dougie Hamilton. So I think this will be a big year for him. He played really well with Chris Tanev last year, and so I think that's going to be kind of another stepping stone if he can, play those heavy minutes for an entire season. And if he can step up to the plate, I think, just based on last year, he looked really good. So I think like he's poised for a breakout for sure. And Mangiapane too, like I've already said, I think he's going to have a big year. I think in my article I wrote that at 5-on-5, his goals per 60 minutes was better than Pasternak, McDavid, and just below like Kirill Kaprizov. So he's in some elite company when it comes to scoring goals. He led the team in even strength goals last season. So if he's a guy that gets on the power play as well, I think he'll have a big season for Calgary, and he'll be a reason that we won't be buying you beers come April. And then, Dillon Dube, I think he's kind of an exciting player. He's kind of made some buzz there in the bubble playoffs. And then I think just the way the roster shakes out, it kind of looks like he's going to play with Backlund and Tyler Pitlick, it looks like, who are both great in their own ends. So I think that's going to give Dube like a lot of opportunity to kind of run with it in the offensive zone. And even Daryl Sutter said he's got great speed. So, and Sutter's even trying him out at center. So he obviously trusts him. So I think he's going to get a lot of ice time as well this season. So I think he definitely is another guy that has a chance to really contribute for the Flames.
Greg, what are your thoughts on Brett's predictions? In particular, I'd like to get your thoughts on Hanifin. Do you think he can be the offensive threat that Giordano was? Because I'd argue that if he's going to be the number 1 defenseman in town, he's got to step up on his points production. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think he'll see a lot more power play minutes, and that's kind of a place where you can really pile up the points. And he's I read an interesting article on the Athletic about him talking about just the season coming up and how he wants to step up. And I think the Flames are going to lean on him. He might even get his own pairing. Like he played with Tanev last year, but maybe they trust him enough that he's going to anchor his own duo out there. So no, I think I expect big things from him. I think he's primed and ready for this responsibility. And he's been in the league. I think it's his 7th season. Like for a young guy, he's had a lot of NHL experience. So I think he's ready to make that next step and maybe become the defensive leader of this team. I certainly hope he can.
Yeah. Colton, thoughts on Dube? Brett's thoughts on Dube?
Yeah, I'm excited to see Dube this year. I thought last season I was really excited for him, and then he kind of had that sophomore slump a bit, just wasn't really able to find consistency. But I mean, he's still a young player, and he's shown through the junior rankings, and then even when he was in the AHL, that his skills there. It's just a matter of putting it all together. So I think if he gets off to a hot start, there's even some chances that he could get even more opportunities. So yeah, I think I'm really excited for him. I think he can become at least a 50-point player in this league. So hopefully it starts this year, because I think if he's able to really have a big breakout year, then that just bodes better for the Flames playoff chances.
Yeah. Well, in keeping with my theme this week of being Donald Downer here, if I can call myself that, I wrote a piece, Flames' slow start could lead to Gaudreau, Monahan, and to Chick trades. A lot of fans didn't like the suggestion that those three could be on the trading block. But what I was arguing was that if the Flames get off to a slow start and say by Christmas they're not in contention for a playoff spot, then they'll blow the team up. They pretty much have to, and trade 1, 2, or all 3 of them for picks and prospects, and as part of a rebuild effort. And then layered on top of that, of course, is the pressure to re-sign Gaudreau before the trade deadline, and to Chuck before he becomes an RFA. And if you can't do that, then you're really looking at dealing them in order to get some value for them. Do you think that scenario is possible? I mean, what if the Flames get off to a crummy start and, was the reaction I got in the Twitter sphere what I deserve for suggesting something that was apparently that outrageous? Colton, you're smiling. I'm going to go with you.
No, I think so it's just social media. It's generally pretty negative. So no, I don't think anything you said's crazy by any means. I don't think Tkachuk will get moved regardless. I mean, unless he's really opposed to signing an extension. I don't see him getting moved. But if they struggle, I think Gaudreau's not out of the question. I think Monahan's almost a guarantee. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there. And even if they're kind of on the bubble at Christmas, even if they're not out, I think they really have to figure out what's going to happen with Gaudreau. They can't afford to just lose him for nothing, right? So either an extension if they're confident they're going to get that done, or maybe a deadline move, because you just can't lose an asset like that for absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Brett, what are your thoughts? I mean, I take Colton's point that Tkachuk, if he can re-sign him, would be part of a rebuild. But your take on my prognostication, my predictions?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I even had the thought, a couple weeks ago, that if it's going south by Christmas time, I think you have to blow it up. I mean, if they're not doing well, then you have the very real possibility that Johnny Gaudreau says, well, this organization has just been spinning its tires the entire time I've been here. And he might just jet off once the off season comes, and then you lose him for nothing. So if they're way out of the playoff picture and not looking good, I think Gaudreau and Monahan are definitely guys you should look at trading. I think I'm with Colton. I think Tkachuk's kind of part of the rebuild. He's still young enough that him, a guy like Mangiapane, could be around for a few more years and could sort of get you back on your feet. But yeah, I think you gotta. There's no more of this tinkering that we've seen for the last 7 seasons. it's either you got to just blow it up if it's not working. And I kind of look at what Arizona's doing right now and just taking on bad contracts and just getting, handfuls of draft picks. So because this year's and next year's are supposed to be deep drafts. So I think you have to make that decision if it's going south by Christmas time.
Yeah. Greg, your thoughts on my predictions? If the team doesn't do well.
Well, I really can't see, like the guys were saying, all three of them, I can't see that happening. Even if they do really, really crummy, I don't see all three of them going, because they're right. You still need someone to kind of build your team around. So, and that's probably Tkachuk. But, everyone's been talking about, this Daryl Sutter style hockey and the fact that he has a full training camp. He's going to have a full season. He's going to have practices. And that was kind of the knock last year. It was like he came in mid-year and they don't compress schedule, couldn't practice, and couldn't really implement their systems properly. But now there's no excuse. If by mid-season, they're terrible, then even under, Sutter's tutelage and his system being implemented in practices and training camp, then I think there's really no other way to go than to like try and blow it up and but try and get something for these guys, for Monahan and possibly Goudreau. So it's like, I think it all depends if they can play the Sutter style hockey, but if they're not successful, I think all bets are off, and it could be the blow up that we've all been waiting for years and years. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Listen, we've got 2-3 minutes left. I very quickly wanted to touch base with you guys on the training camp surprises, disappointments so far. If you had one you could mention, what would it be? Colton, anything come to mind?
I think for a surprise, I think Oliver Shillington's looked really good. Right. I think after they kind of signed Goodbranson and something come to mind. Stone, sorry, on that same day. I think it kind of almost spelled the end for him in his Flames career, but I think he's making it really hard on coaching staff right now, which is all you can ask for him. So I think he's been really good.
Brett, any surprises, disappointments?
One surprise actually is Walker Dewar that they signed last year out of college, and he's played really well, and he wasn't in the first game against Edmonton, but he's played every single game since. So there's obviously something that the coaching staff likes there. So I don't think he'll make the team, but I think he's definitely has warranted a call up at some point this season if they ever need him. But I definitely think he'll need a full season down in Stockton kind of before making a real push for this team.
Greg, last thought to you.
Well, I've been kind of disappointed that we haven't had any kind of excitement from the young guys. Like I know people wanted to see Connor Zary, but he got injured in the first game, and Pelche's hasn't proven that he's ready yet. And even some guys from Stockton, like Matthew Phillips or Ruzicka, or I thought maybe there would be someone would try and make a move and try and get a job, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It looks like all of these veteran offseason signings, their jobs are probably pretty secure right now, and so which makes for a boring camp and kind of a little disappointing that there's no excitement, in the roster. Like who's gonna, force one of these old guys out? I say nobody does. So, which is kind of sad to see, but not unexpected.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but that was a great discussion as always. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Flames Faceoff. And in the meantime, to make sure you don't miss this or any other episode, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, give us a like on social media, and share this video with your friends. And do be sure to check out some of the great hockey content that we have here at thehockeywriters.com. Until next week, take care.